The following is a special presentation of Big Pauly's World of Sports Sims, alternating the reality of sports and entertainment since 2020. Hello, everybody. This is Big Pauly over here. This is Ella the Cat over there. And we are ready for Big Pauly's Fight Night, the light heavyweight division. And we've already run 3 preliminaries. And would you believe we actually had a knockout in one of the preliminary fights? Let's show you what has happened. Anton Christofortis over Gus Lesnevich in a unanimous decision. I'm sure Al Red Sox fan will remind me how to pronounce those guys' names. Bob Foster did it. He became the first man to score a knockout in the BPBA. He beat Jimmy Bivens. Silly scored 3 knockdowns and won the fight in 2:26 with the final knockout, a 10 count, in round number 3. Ezzard Charles defeated Sam Langford in the most recent fight on the card before we took the air and won by a majority points decision, 97-94, 96-96, 99-95. And with that, we'll give you our first of 3 fights today here on Big Pauly's Fight Night, trying to get this in before the Duke game comes on tonight on, I think it's TBS it's on tonight, or CBS. Well, it's one of the two, and YouTube TV automatically takes me there, so I'm not worried about which channel it's on. In our co-main event, Dwight Muhammad Cowie faces Michael Spinks for the U.S. title, 12-rounder. And then we have a fight for the Americas title after that, and our world title fight, Billy Conn against Gene Tunney for the light heavyweight championship of the world. Next week we do heavyweights, and then the following week I'm going to take off, and then we're going to start the whole process over again with the flyweights and see what happens in that division in stage number 2. Cowie, 41-11-1, lost a lot of fights late in his career because he had made the move to heavyweight. He was a cruiserweight as well. He's out of Camden, New Jersey. Michael Spinks, his most famous fight was probably getting destroyed in 1 round by Mike Tyson, a 31-1 record. So he was undefeated, and he never fought again after being devastated in 93 seconds by Mike Tyson in the late 1980s. He's out of St. Louis, the younger brother of Leon Spinks. They both won gold medals at the 76 Olympics in Montreal. And we're going to play out the first round, scheduled for 12. I would have to pick Spinks to be the favorite here, but he starts out with a jab that misses, and another jab that misses. Cowie being elusive. Cross scores finally for Spinks. We'll take a 30-second break after this fight and a 30-second break before our main event. We're already halfway through the first round. Hook to the body for Cowie. Was also known in his career as Dwight Braxton. Both men scoring there. Spinks scored a little better. And a major cut over the left eye of Dwight Muhammad Cowie. Last minute of the first round. Jab misses short by Spinks. And a jab scores at the bell. I'd give the round to Spinks. Of course, his older brother Leon was famous for scoring the upset in 1978 over Muhammad Ali after just a handful of fights. And then they met again in September 15, 1978 at the Superdome. And Cosell called that fight, and Ali won his 3rd championship. He also called it with Chris Schenkel. And Cowie starts with a strong jab, and we begin the second round. And a jab in kind by Spinks that didn't have a lot of power behind it. That jab blocked by Spinks, and the jab scores for Cowie. Hook for Spinks. I think a lot of people will be watching the progress in this division of Bob Foster, who was very impressive against Jimmy Bivens on one of the undercard fights. A cross blocked by Braxton. Not as active. Oh, a combination of the body right at the bell for Cowie. He might have stolen the second round there. We go to round 3 for this fight for the American Championship. A hook scores for Spinks. And a cross. Body head combination for Cowie. A good one. That made Spinks blink a little bit. And an uppercut. Each men scoring on an exchange of blows there. More than halfway through the third. Combination for Spinks. An active third round. Double hook lands for Cowie. And Spinks has really been rattled in this third round. Uppercut right back for Spinks. A lot of good action in this round. Jab scores. And that's the bell. An even third round, it appears, to this reporter. We'll take a look at our unofficial ringside official. He has Cowie ahead by a point, 29 points to 28, 2 rounds to 1. We start the fourth, and off we go. Oh, a solid cross right off the bat. But Cowie just shrugs it off. Combination to the body for Cowie, responding in kind after that. A huge cross for Spinks. And Cowie is stunned. Spinks tries to follow up. Another good cross. And Cowie is still feeling the cobwebs after those 2 shots. And a hook. And now, finally, the head clearing for Cowie after a huge barrage of punches. Spinks owning this 4th round. Another huge cross. And Cowie looking stunned again. Hook scores for Spinks. But Cowie gets out of danger. He was in danger twice. A huge round for Spinks. 16-3. And we'll begin the 5th round as Spinks let his power go in that round, and he's landing some punches here on Cowie, an even flurry there, where both men scoring good with shots. A hook to the body for Cowie, hook ducked by Spinks, and a jab, so Cowie putting punches together after being battered around in that 4th round. Short hook ducked by Spinks. Possible foul? No, a malicious foul. And the referee admonishing Cowie after that. So we have battled through 5. I think Spinks would be leading. We'll check our scorecard again after this round. Hook scores for Cowie, the former Dwight Braxton. Accidental headbutt, both fighters fine. Hook scores for Spinks. Jab scores for Spinks. Seems to be doing well this round. Uppercut for Spinks. And Cowie becoming more and more a stationary target for Michael. Hook to the body for Cowie. And both fighters are juking and moving. We're under a minute in the 6th. Hook ducked by Spinks. And a jab blocked. I would say that was Spinks' round. And after 6 rounds, Spinks won a 10-8 round, according to our unofficial observer, in round 4. Followed that up by wins in round 5 and round 6. He is up 58-55 as we head to the 7th round in the second half of the fight, should we go to distance. Cross for Spinks starts us off. Flagrant foul for Spinks. So he pays that receipt off after a malicious foul by Cowie a few rounds ago. Hook for Cowie. I'm sure both fighters are being warned. Cut out the silly business. A jab and a nice one, snapping Spinks' head back. Accidental headbutt again. These fighters fighting for control. Both fighters score there, but Spinks got the better of it. Under a minute. Good hook for Cowie. as we head to the last half a minute. And an even exchange there. And a cross for Spinks, but I think Cowie took the 7th. But Cowie looking like he is expending more energy than Spinks has as we go to the 8th. Jab. Scores. And a minor cut above the left eye of Spinks now. So both men cut. And both men scoring on that exchange. Cowie looked like he got the better of that. Combination for Spinks. Midway point of round 8. Hook to the body by Cowie, who gave Evander Holyfield a couple of good fights in the 80s when they were cruiserweights. And Holyfield, of course, one of the all-time legends in the heavyweight division. That looked like about an even 8th round. Cowie definitely showing signs of fatigue now. Spinks looking like he could go a couple more rounds before fatiguing. Round 9, scheduled for 12 as we try to decide an America's champion. And Cowie in trouble again, but he shrugs it off. Jab blocked by Cowie. Been taking a lot of good shots in this fight. The short hook lands for Spinks. Jab blocked by Spinks. A hook scores for Cowie. And both men landing shots there. 52 seconds left in the 9th. Round up for grabs. A hook for Cowie. And a hook for Spinks. Spinks might have just squeaked by in the 9th. And now Spinks out of gas, so he probably spent a little more energy in that 9th round than he would have liked to. And here's another look at the scorecards. Our ringside observer liked Spinks in the 7th and 9th, but he gave the 8th to Cowie. And your score now is 87-83. Spinks is up 4 points heading to the 10th round. Cross scores for Spinks, and Cowie fires back with a hook. Good cross for Spinks. And another hook. After Cowie landed a punch, Spinks came back with a counter. Hook scores for Cowie. Minute 20 left in the 10th. Uppercut scores for Cowie. Hook ducked by Cowie. And a nice jab there, snapping Spinks back. And both men landing as we hear the bell for round 10. Can Cowie make a low-key comeback on the judges' cards? He just won the 10th in my eyes. And we head to the championship rounds, this being round 11. A cross lands for Cowie. And a clinch. So the referee pries the fighters apart. Cross scores for Spinks. And a hook. And the body head combination that rocked Cowie. And another hook for Spinks. He's piling up the points here in round 11, and we're gone to the last minute of the fight. Last minute of the round, I beg your pardon. Combination for Spinks. And that appeared to be Spinks' round. And it's looking like Cowie will need a knockout to win the fight. As we head to the 12th, and we look at our unofficial official here, and he has given the 10th round to nobody. It was even, but he gives round 11 to Spinks, so it's a 5-point margin, 107-102. Cowie's going to have to score a knockout here in the 12th and final round. Both fighters jockey for position. Cross by Spinks! But Cowie shrugs it off, but that had a lot of oomph behind it. Jab by Spinks. He's not sticking and moving. He's fighting Cowie straight up. Here in round 12, another jab scores. And a hook for Cowie. And an even exchange. Jab for Spinks. Could be the final shots here of the fight. An uppercut and a beauty for Spinks. And if you ask me, he has deserved to win the America's title. But we'll hear from our judges. They might have a totally different story. Unanimous decision, 116-112, 118-109, 118-112. So Spinks is your brand new American light heavyweight champ here in the BPBA. And I am going to pause for 30 seconds, and we will come back with our America's title fight, Roy Jones Jr. up against Archie Moore. You're watching the Big Pauly's World of Sports Sims YouTube channel. Arena here in Seminole, Florida. Our spot for this America's title fight, which covers the North and South America and all the ships at sea. Roy Jones Jr., 66-9 in his career that probably spanned a little too long. 47 KOs. He's out of Pensacola, Florida. Archie Moore, 185, 23-10, his brilliant career. The Mongoose from San Diego. This should be a good fight. Scheduled for 12 rounds, and off we go. And stay tuned. We have Billy Conn against Gene Tunney coming up next. Jab for Jones to start the fight. They jockey for position. Jab for Jones. Hook for Jones. Of course, he's most famously known, I would say, for being robbed of a gold medal in the 88 Seoul, Korea Olympics. Combination for Mongoose, by the way, Moore. And another combination. Both fighters sticking and moving, juking and jiving. A hook scores for Moore, so he's kind of low-key, gotten back into the round. A hook for Jones! And Moore is stunned, but the bell's going to save him from further damage here in the first round. This should be a good fight. And we haven't even gotten to the heavyweight division. We will get to that next week. And as I said earlier, the week after that, I'm going to take off from doing Big Pauly's Fight Night. But we will be back in 3 weeks. And we'll do stage 2 of the flyweight division. And then work our way up to the heavyweights. So every 10-week period, I'll do 9 weeks of fights, and I'll take a week off. Hook scores for Jones. Hook again for Jones. No, that was a cross, actually. The hook ducked by Moore. Combination to the body by Moore. Cross misses short. And a cross lands for Jones. Both these fights, I don't know if Moore is in the Hall of Fame, but I mean, I don't know if Jones is in the Hall of Fame, but Moore most definitely is, or should be. Jab for Jones, and I think I would give him the second round, but just barely. A lot of these rounds, I think, are going to be up to the interpretation of the judges. We go to the third. Cross lands for Roy Jones Jr. And a big straight punch. But Roy Jones shows he has a solid chin. Marginal foul by Moore. Uppercut lands for Moore. I think these guys will throw the leather in this fight. Cross lands for Moore. How do you like them? How do you like them? And both men with good shots, but it looked like Roy Jones got the better of it. Of course, Jones would wind up being a heavyweight champion. Cross for Roy Jones Jr. Uppercut dodged by Jones. Did a good job getting out of the way of that. Hook lands for Moore. A solid shot. And that lands just before the bell. So Jones was on Queer Street at the end of that third round. I'd give Moore the third. So both men now have felt the wrath of the other, and we have only gone through 3 rounds. Told you this was going to be a good fight. And here's our ringside observer telling us he has Moore ahead by 1 point, 29-28 as we go to the fourth. Oh, another solid hook by Moore. And this time the bell's not going to save Jones as he was solidly staggered. And a relentless pursuit here by Moore. And Jones is still stunned. But a combination for Jones. He comes back with a fine counter there. Oh, another hook. And Jones is down. We'll watch this. Count at 5. Up to 8, 9. And Jones just beats the count. 1:10 gone by in the fourth round. We still got 1:50 left in this round. A long way to go for Jones. He's going to have to use all of his skill to get out of this. Jones is still staggered. A very big round for Moore. Again, Jones was staggered. Jones looks seriously hurt now. Another good shot. But this time Jones shrugs it off. A cross lands. A very big round for Archie Moore. And the referee's going to stop the fight. This one is over. Archie Moore is your new America's champ. And this one only took 2:23 to finish in round 4. Roy Jones Jr. was taking a serious pounding and the ref had no option but to stop this fight. So Archie Moore is your new America's light heavyweight champion. And we will get to our main event right after this commercial. You're watching the Big Pauly's World of Sports Sims YouTube channel. If you like the video you're watching, feel free to use the Amazon link provided. I'll put it in the description down below. So that co-main event will be a tough act to follow as we just saw Roy Jones Jr. get rocked by Archie Moore, losing by a TKO in round 4. But now we move on to our main event for the World's Light Heavyweight Championship here in the BPBA. It is Billy Conn, most famous for his fight with Joe Louis, 64-11-1. Of course, they had a rematch, and Louis did better in the rematch. But that was a fight where Joe Louis was in trouble, but Conn couldn't close the deal. A very famous fight. Gene Tunney, the Fighting Marine, 57-1 out of New York, and Billy Conn out of Pittsburgh. So this ought to be another good fight. And we'll start the first round of 15. And a long straight punch by Tunney. Wonder how Conn put up one of the great performances against Joe Louis in Louis's prime. But you kind of wonder how he will do here against Gene Tunney, who is one of the great heavyweight boxers, let alone light heavyweight. So it's about an even round so far. We're about 1:02 left in the first. And a hook for Tunney. Cross by Conn. About an even round. We're 34 seconds now left in the first. A hook lands for Conn. Combination. So Conn finishing the first round with a flourish. We have a long way to go. Conn is 64-11-1. Gene Tunney 57-1. And we go to the second round. Body-head combination for Billy Conn. A hook scores. Cross scoring for Tunney. That missed. Conn being elusive. Body-head combination for Billy Conn. Hook to the body. Cross side slit by Tunney. Was one of the great defensive boxers of all time. Straight punch lands for Tunney. And incidental contact, no foul being ruled. And it looked like Conn took the second round. But Tunney might be taking these rounds a little more conservatively, trying to figure Billy Conn out so he could dominate in the later rounds. And in the 15-round fight, that was not an unusual thing to be a slow starter. Third round action now. Jab dodged by Conn. We'll give you a scoring recap after this third round. Even exchange. Uppercut by Billy. Gene comes back, but Billy comes right back with a counter cross. 1:08 left in the third. Cross by Tunney. Even flurry. Body head combination by Conn. Conn seems to be getting the better of Tunney, at least early on, but we'll see how that changes. Both men landing at the bell, ending round 3. And we'll look at our unofficial official, and he likes Tunney in the first 3 rounds. Wow. So we'll go to the fourth. They have been close rounds. Jab scores for Gene Tunney. Clean jab. Uppercut lands for Conn. Body head combination. Juke and move. Both fighters block and parry here. Hook for Conn. And the short hook ducked. And a quick uppercut by Tunney. That looked a more even fourth round. But according to our ringside observer, Tunney won those first 3 rounds. You could give an argument that Conn was all the bit better in these first few rounds. Uppercut lands for Billy Conn. Out of Pittsburgh. The straight punch by Tunney dodged by Conn. Neither of these men have great power, so we could see this fight go the distance. Short hook for Conn. Jab for Tunney. Both fighters unmarked at this stage of the fight. We're in round 5. And a jab blocked by Tunney. And both fighters juking and jiving. Hook for Conn. And a hook ducked by Conn. Seemed to be Conn's round. So we're a third of the way home. 5 rounds complete. We go to the 6th. Hook scores for Billy Conn. Hook ducked by Gene Tunney. Actually, it was Tunney throwing and Conn ducking, but he landed a hook that time, Tunney did. Combination blocked by Conn. Conn not doing poorly. Uppercut to the body. A lot of these rounds have been close. Hook for Conn. Jab by Tunney. Both fighters jockeying for position. Last seconds of the 5th round. A jab misses for Tunney, but Conn lands a double jab. Tunney seems to be doing better in terms of his energy. And after 6 rounds, Conn, according to our observer, won all 3 rounds, the 4th, the 5th, and the 6th. So he has it dead even at 57 all as we head to the 7th. Very good fight so far. Confection for the connoisseur, as Howard Cosell once said about one of the Leonard Duran fights. Actually, it was Leonard and Denitas. Oh, a good cross for Tunney, but that was the biggest punch of the fight here for Tunney. It was his 79 fight, Ray Leonard against Wilfred Benitez, late 79, where he said, confection for the connoisseur. Cross blocked. And a hook ducked by Conn. Good round for Tunney so far. Another hook. Probably his best round of the fight. Conn comes back with a hook at the bell. Round 7 complete. I give that to Tunney. The midway round, round 8. Jab dodged by Tunney. Both fighters having to be separated, pried apart by our referee on the clinch. And a hook on a counter by Tunney after Conn missed with a shot, and he's missing much more frequently now in round 8. Hook ducked by Conn. Both fighters trying to stay out of trouble, and a straight punch landing for Conn on a counter after a hook for Tunney misses. Last 45 seconds of the 8th round. Scheduled for 15. This for the world title of the BPBA. Cross scores for Conn. And a combination to the head, a sharp one by Tunney. He might have stolen the 8th round with that punch. We'll look at our official scorecard at the end of round 9, which we are going to begin right now. Jab misses short. Conn continuing to be elusive, but he's looking like he's running out of steam. Across for Tunney. Straight punch ducked by Conn. Conn spending a lot of energy getting out of the way of these punches. Another cross misses. Conn living dangerously. A jab misses by Tunney. Tunney trying to find the range. A hook for Conn. 27 seconds left in round 9. A jab by Conn. And a jab for Tunney. And that does it for the 9th round. Conn looking much more tired right now than Tunney is. But he's had to get out of the way of a lot of punches. And here's a look at our ringside official. He has the fight now dead even going to the 10th. If we have a draw, then that just means we don't have a world champion. And the title will be up for grabs again against whoever is ranked number 1 or number 2. It may not necessarily be Tunney or Conn. Bob Foster had a big win, so did Archie Moore. The hook scores for Conn. First real punch of note in the 10th. Jab missing again. Conn being very elusive. The double jab by Conn misses short. Tunney got out of the way of that. And a cross landing for Conn. And Tunney has a bloody nose. First sign of damage for either fighter. 1 minute left in the 10th. The hook misses short by Conn. Both fighters jockey for position. Here in round 10, the cross dodged by Tunney. And Conn looking way more tired now at the end of round 10. All the punches that he has been dodging from Tunney taking a toll on his fatigue. We go to the 11th. Jab dodged by Tunney. Tunney now getting out of the way a lot of these punches. A combination for Conn. And both fighters sticking and moving, jockeying for position. Straight punch ducked by Conn. He's still getting out of the way a lot of these shots. Tunney landed the biggest punch of the fight so far. Several rounds ago, the referee separating the fighters. Not a lot of action in this 11th round. The straight punch again dodged by Conn. Oh, and a big-time cross. And Conn is stunned. You knew sooner or later Tunney was going to land a good shot. And the jab lands for Tunney at the bell. So the bell saving Conn here in round 11. And we head now to the 12th round. Good fight between these two. A hook ducked by Tunney, who's making Conn miss all the more now as the fight progresses and Conn's getting tired. Cross for Tunney. A straight punch has Conn stunned again. And a jab blocked, and Conn's head very quickly clears here at 109 of the 12th round. Incidental contact, no foul. Jab lands for Tunney. He's having a good 12th round. And we'll have to check our scorecard from our ringside observer. And we'll do that right after this. Fighters were jockeying for position at the end of the 12th. Looked like Tunney's round. And I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if Tunney pulls away in these last 3 rounds. But I got to give Conn great credit. Tunney did indeed take the last 3 rounds, the 10th, 11th, and the 12th. 116, 113. As we head to the 13th, we go to the championship rounds of a 15-round fight. The fighters trying to move around for position. Another straight punch landing. And you see Conn absorbing more and more punishment as the fight progresses. Even exchange. So Conn was able to fire back. A straight punch lands for Tunney. Hook to the body for Conn. And across, a good shot there. And the jab missing for Tunney. Conn still getting out of the way a few of these shots. A body-head combination for Conn. And he might have won the 13th round. And if you looked at our unofficial ringside official, he needs all 3 rounds for the draw. And he might have to gain a knockout here to take it out of the judge's hands, because this is a close fight. Tunney now looking a bit more tired as we head to the 14th. And we'll look one last time at our unofficial officials card after this round. Conn starting off with a double hook, and he lands another hook. And the fighter's juking and moving. Straight punch lands for Tunney. Incidental contact, possible foul, but none occurring. Even exchange there. Conn doing well in this 14th. A hook scores. Both fighters missing. Last moments of the 14th, a jab lands for Tunney. But I think Conn took the 14th as well. But Conn's going to need a big 15th round just to take it out of the judge's hands. And our ringside observer agrees with me that Conn took the 13th and the 14th. So it all comes down to this. Round 15. Both fighters landing shots. This has been such an even fight that it's not surprising to me here that both fighters landing punches one after another. The jab blocked by Tunney. And a hook to the body for Conn. Conn needs to make a statement here in the 15th. Otherwise, this is going to be a very close fight, and neither fighter can feel confident about their position if this round ends without incident. Final moments of the fight. And we will go to the judges. I think Conn took the 15th. Let's look at our judges' decision. 144, 141 Conn. Tunney, 144, 143. Conn, 145, 142. A very close fight, but Billy Conn is your light heavyweight champion, much to the chagrin of the New York fans who wanted Tunney to win. A very close fight. It was 56-51 when you total up all the points. In the 15th round, Conn won on Judge number 1's card to make it a 3-point win. On the Judge's 2 card, Tunney won that deciding point, and Judge 3 had Conn winning going away, winning the last 3 rounds, and that proved to be the difference in this fight. So Billy Conn is your brand new light heavyweight champ in the BPBA. I'm sure he's going to get some serious competition, perhaps from Archie Moore or from Bob Foster, if he could climb the ranks. And you see here, it'll be Conn and Moore probably fighting in stage 2. Spinks and Charles, Foster and Christoph Wardis. You could see Tunney and Roy Jones Jr. on the undercard. But let's take a look at the heavyweight division. We'll have a hell of a fight for you coming up for the heavyweight title. It'll be Joe Louis and Mike Tyson. Jack Thompson and Gene Tunney will get another crack at winning a title. How about this for the U.S. title? Sonny Liston, Muhammad Ali. Oh, a big grudge match. Rocky Marciano and Larry Holmes. And then in the 9-10 fight, it'll be Ibiabuchi, I think that is, and Evander Holyfield. And we'll pick two men at random for our first fight on that card. So I hope you all enjoyed yourself. I enjoyed doing these fights. Those last two fights, very surprising. And this has been Big Pauly coming to you here as darkness settles in Seminole, Florida. Godspeed and God bless. We will do it all again real soon. Bye bye for now, everybody.